What's up, people? Thank you for joining me on episode 36 of Tremendous Opinions podcast. This episode is not going to be like normal episodes. I was going back and forth on even doing this, but I feel responsible not only to any listeners of this, but just to myself to do this and keep it up on a regular basis no matter what happens. So here we are. It's about 1:30 in the morning. I have to wake up for work tomorrow, and then really I'll just get right to it. I'm in a weird headspace. I was at work like a normal day this morning, and I get a call from Paxton, Pac Daddy, who was on my podcast a couple days ago. I get a call from Pac when I'm working, and I could tell that he's not right on the phone, and he tells me that our mutual grandmother has passed this morning. And she wasn't doing well, and I knew that. But at the same time, I wasn't quite ready to hear it. You never want to hear that, you're never ready. I don't even know if this is right to talk about it on a podcast, but something I heard someone say a long time ago is the best thing to talk about on something like this is real life, and this is about as real life as it gets. In the past year and a half, now I've lost both of my grandmothers, which grandmother is Miss Wanda, with my last name, Kilby, passed this morning. We all, as in the cousins, we all refer to her as grandmother, straight up. And the memories are still flooding back. She's from the mountains of North Carolina, beautiful place. When we were young and growing up, they had a house on Balsam, is what it's called. There's a train track right down the hill. They lived on a big hill with like a big forest on the side. We'd go play and build forts, and me and my older cousin Cameron were always getting into trouble and making weapons and doing bad stuff, and Paxton was always tagging along with us singing church songs. I forget what songs he'd be singing, but he'd just be singing church songs, and we'd be like, Paxton, give it a rest, would you? We're out here, we're playing, sticks and stones out here in the woods, and you're giving us an ear beating with the church songs. But they had the woods next to the house. She's the lady that taught me how to swing on a swing set. She taught me how to skip. I don't skip, but still, these things come back to me. They had a beautiful house with a big loop-in driveway with a big, like a pavement hill. So we'd get on those three-wheelers and just tear it around the corner. They'd watch us a lot growing up. They had a pond with a bunch of goldfish in it. It was just a fun environment, and there was I don't even know what it's called, like a home for disturbed people, I guess would be the polite way to put it, right down the street. And they had a parking lot with a basketball goal. And my cousin Cam, he called it the Kook House. Which, no disrespect, I'm a couple marbles away from being in a kook house myself. But Cam called it the Kook House. We'd get a basketball and head on up there to the Kook House, and we'd be playing 2-on-2 against some guy with, like, what the guy on Batman have? He's like, I don't know, not dyslexic. I'm dyslexic. Whatever, I don't know, I can't even think straight right now, but we'd be playing basketball against these geeked up guys, and we'd go back to grandmother's, and she would always have a big jar of this juice. She called it magic juice, and it's supposed to have like magical powers, like it turned me into Magic Johnson or something. And it was definitely just purple Kool-Aid, but she would never give up the secret of what was in the magic juice. It was purple Kool-Aid and something else. I don't know what she put in it, but it didn't quite. We tried the purple Kool-Aid and it didn't taste the same. We were trying to pull her bluff, but I don't know. I don't know what she was sprinkling in there, but it definitely did not make me Magic Johnson, or I would not be doing this podcast right now. I would own the Dodgers. Grandmother was a fierce competitor. And I mean, I'm not doing this podcast as like an honor to my grandma. I mean, in a way I am, but I'm just talking about what's coming to mind. All these things. I mean, I was out and about today. I had work. I was with the family. And I'll tell you what I did later, like this afternoon. But all day, no matter what I was doing, I was just having flashbacks of, like, it would take me back. I would get lost in the current. I would be doing something, or my phone would go off, and then I would go back to it, thinking about growing up and this, that, and the other. Grandmother, we would always play Yahtzee. And this may be terrible material for a podcast, but really, I don't care. I'm the Captain Kirk of this enterprise, like I've told you before. And I want to talk about this, so I'm talking about this. I'm not going off notes. Speaking of notes, this was my first notebook that I started just over a year ago, and it's completely full now, and I feel good about that. So I'm starting a new notebook. Next episode, I don't have any notes. Grandmother, we would always, we just found ourselves there. Me and there's like 12 cousins, and we all just pile up in there, and we're joking with each other, laughing, this, that, and the other. We're playing Yahtzee, and grandmother loved Yahtzee. And she would roll the dice a certain way, and then if it was like a clutch roll or a clutch moment where she really needed something, she'd have a high pitch like that, like that was a extra to get the dice to go a certain way. And she did that. Like, we played tag all the time. We lived, like, I don't know, sometimes in Oklahoma, sometimes in Georgia, sometimes, so we didn't see her that often. So every time we'd leave her, we'd play last tag. Whether it was in the parking lot of a hotel or their driveway, wherever we were, we would, all the kids against grandmother. We'd try to tag her and run away without getting tagged, and get in the car and roll the windows up, and sometimes she would cheat and like go through my dad's door, roll the window down, and tag us, and then dad would drive off. She was a yard sale animal. You didn't want to see my grandmother at your yard sale. You're about to get all your stuff taken for like $3. Great bargainer. Taught me a million things without even knowing or trying to, The way she walked around was cool. She grew up in a time where a woman wearing pants was considered like, I don't know, like you were a girl smoking a cigarette in the 70s or 80s. Like, you were on the other side of the fence. You were crazy for wearing pants when my grandmother was a kid growing up. Even when she was dating my grandfather, wearing pants was like a no-go. So in her later years, going to church, she would be at church every Sunday, and for like 50 years, same church, and I grew up in that place. I'd walk in there, and grandmother would be sitting there in her same spot, like on the third pew on the left over there, and she would always have like a pantsuit. I think she took like the no pants thing and I just found this out like today. I didn't know about the pants thing, but I put two and two together. She always had pantsuits, like a Hillary Clinton suit. phenomenal. Like a peach color one, looked like a, I don't know, like a riffraff color, like a peach suit. I don't know what to call it. Like she had pants and it looked nice, and it was her outfit. That's what she wanted to wear. And she'd be there sitting there, and she clapped a specific way, like she'd kind of move her head with her hand like this. And even my sister loves this, dude. Like a couple years ago, my brother Corey was playing basketball at Mercer, and they had the conference tournament in Asheville, just a short drive from grandmother's old house. And they showed up and met us up there to watch Corey play ball. And I think they were playing like Future or Lil Baby or something, like hardcore rap over the speakers, like blasting it during warm-ups. My sister said she looked over and seen grandmother clapping along like she would at church. Just great memories like that just come flooding back. I don't think I mentioned ping pong yet. She's the best ping pong player in the family, and we just have like ninja ping pong players in our family. She was the seed that grew our family into a basketball family. Corey gives her credit for that, and I do too. Her brother, Mal, was a professional, played for the Washington Bullets. And she was a good ball player herself, and she's competitive and full of fire. It's just taken me away today. I didn't expect Pac to call and tell me that. I believe Thursday really early, my sister and I will wake up and head on up there and meet up with the family and everything. And I'm sorry if this is a downer. I wouldn't feel right talking about anything else right now. And I don't want to, jump up and down and cause a scene about it, because this happens to everybody. It's life. But out of respect, I wanted to take a moment, reflect on it, tell a story or two. I don't know, maybe someone listening has a loss in the family too or something. I don't know. But my feelings have progressively gone to, like, would she want me to sit here and moan and cry? I don't think so, the lady that she was. I think she would want me to squeeze the juice out of life, out of today. I'm supposed to be doing this right now. For whatever reason, I don't know. I could have easily just put on Netflix and gone to bed. But that's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to weather the storm. I'm supposed to stay up late and wake up early. I'm supposed to take time and talk to the dude that I, would have just blown off and just look down at my phone, take my AirPods out and be a human being and talk to the guy at the gas station. I just got this coffee at the gas station. And really, now I'll tell you what I did this afternoon. A couple of weeks ago, Dad called me and he was like, and really it's my dad's mother that passed. So he's not here. He's already gone to be with the family. A couple of weeks ago, Dad called out of nowhere and asked if I would want to go to a hockey game with the church. I'm like, sure, I've never been to a hockey game, I'll go to a hockey game. It turns out that the Mannix wanted to go too. Olivia ended up going with me. And really, I still have to work tomorrow. So does Olivia. And we're not leaving here till Thursday. So, we can seriously consider just staying here and not doing nothing. But, I thought about it earlier today. What would if I could talk to grandmother She wouldn't. I mean, what's the point of sitting around and not doing nothing? She would want me to go to a stupid hockey game and jump up and down with a bunch of Neanderthals and squeeze the juice out of this thing. Because I might not make it to next week. This might be my last podcast. Who knows what could happen? Anything can happen. Dude, my last podcast, I'm an idiot. I said something about like the Russians are going to send a tidal wave over here. Not knowing that, one, the Russians are actually like in the news, like trying to occupy Ukraine, and America's getting involved now. I'm not political. I've never voted, never gonna vote, but just the sheer circumstance that I said that and now that happened is crazy. But what's even crazier is I said they were gonna send a tsunami 2 hours after I edited that podcast. I got an alert on my phone that said a tsunami is gonna hit California from that Tonga thing. So I need to watch out what I say on here. Your boy is like a prophet on this podcast. Prophet Chester Copperpot. And I didn't come in with the fake names and the hoopla and the build-up, host with the most, because right now I'm just coming to you as a human being that's kind of going through something. Tonight I put everything on the side and I went to a hockey game with some fun people. I don't know these people from the churches as well as I've known some people from the past churches. Like I've been at one church for like 10 years. I grew up with these guys. Not here. I don't know these guys like that. But we jumped up and down. This dude Larry, solid as they come. Larry promised me a bag of popcorn a couple months ago, and he finally came through tonight at the hockey game. He just showed up around the corner and handed me the biggest bag of popcorn that they had at PNC Arena. Me and Livy went with the Mannix and some good church dudes. Went to a hurricane, whatever it is. Almost said Miami Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes. They went into overtime and won. And there was a fight with a minute left. They shucked and it wasn't even like a normal 1-on-1. It was like 4-on-4. They were all fighting, and the place erupted, and that's what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to be in that place, and I was supposed to have a great time with great people and squeeze the juice out of this thing. And that's my message to you. Squeeze the juice out of this thing. I had a FaceTime today from, he's like a little brother to me, a guy I haven't talked to in a long time, and I told him the same thing. I didn't even tell him that my grandmother had passed today. I just told him, keep your head above water. No matter what happens, keep stepping forward, 10 toes to the ground, and squeeze the juice out of this thing. Nothing's promised. I'm not Gary V. I'm not a motivational speaker. Matt Foley, I just thought about him because one of the refs skating on the ice, he moved his arms like this, like Matt Foley. You got to get back on the right track. Squeeze the juice out of life. I'm not going to rant and rave for 45 minutes, jumping up and down. My thoughts are honestly kind of jumbled, and I don't know where I'm at. 20 minutes, I'm surprised I even got this far. My grandmother was funny. She didn't mean to be. Dude, I was in 7th grade, and she saw me getting a little close to one of those girls up there at the church. She pulled me aside, and she said, "Don't talk to that girl no more." I said, "Why?" She said, "Cause," and she did a little hand like this. She said, "'Cause she's a little loose." She's a little loose. I always knew how to pick them. Dude, she's a little... I was in 7th grade. I didn't even know what that meant. She's hilarious. Love your people. Call someone today. Whenever you're watching this, I don't even care if you click off the podcast. Call the first person that you think of. Tell them you love them. Say, when are we going to catch up and get a coffee? When are we going to hash this out and catch up? because that's something you got to do or you'll regret it. My grandmother wasn't doing too good about the past year, and I had the opportunity to go see her, but a few people said she wasn't doing too good. The COVID situation, only one person can go in at a time, and she didn't know names, and she couldn't recognize people. In my last memory of her with me in person, she was coherent. She told me I looked like Jesus with my long hair. They were throwing shots at the hair, but they got over it. And we were eating. I'm not even talking bad. It's a running joke. There's a thing like for a pastor and the pastor's wife with a church called a parsonage sometimes. Like especially in some of these older southern churches, there's a parsonage. It's like a house for the pastor right next to the church. So it's a converted parsonage to like the child care place for the church now. But there's still a kitchen, and it's stocked like all the cabinets and stuff is full of cookies. And Lord knows the date, like the expiration date on these cookies. I don't know where they come from, but you'll chip a tooth if you're not careful, depending on the cookie. And it's always been a joke that they just, like they would make these grab bags for us kids growing up. And like the Cheetos were old. Like it was a sideshow, man. And I'm glad it was like that because it gave us something to rip on. It gave us material to work with. One time they gave, I think they gave Ryan a piece of cheesecake that just tasted like death. And he apparently just flushed it down the toilet, and you could tell that someone put cake in the toilet. Oh, amazing memories. Sweaty ping pong tournaments in the garage. She could play pool. Just an amazing lady. And yeah, I'm not just going to talk on and on. I just had to, one, it's been about a week and a half since I put anything up, and kind of been waiting on, I don't know, I guess I didn't even reach out this week because they had 3 basketball games. I'm trying to get Dewey, and if Brady wants to get on, that's fine, but Dewey wanted to get on with his guitar. We're going to tear it up. So expect that probably maybe next week, the week after, who knows? Who cares? We're going to get it done, though. But for now, I just wanted to come on here, clear my head, and kind of move through it myself. I'm still processing it because, like I told you, I've been kind of out and about all day, but I still, like, it's just been like a mist over my reality that happened today. Sorry if I've been monotone or terrible stories. I'm sorry. I had to get on here and say something about my beautiful grandmother. And yeah, that's it. Sorry, I'm kind of out of it. Tonight was fun. We squeezed the juice out of it. You should have seen me at that hockey game. And really, I tell you, I couldn't stop thinking about my grandmother. I thought about her and my family like 50 times sitting there at that hockey game. But it kept coming back to me that, especially grandmother, maybe someone else would want you to sit there and sulk over them not being here anymore. But my grandmother is a fireball. Like she's an animal of a different breed. She is the head of like a mafia pretty much. Like our family is a certain way. And it's not like we're better than anybody or nothing like that. We all are just cut from a specific cloth just like everyone else is. And I love my life. I love the way I am. I love what I was raised in and how I was raised. And it's a lot due to that lady. So, Wanda Kilby, I love you, and thank you for setting up our family to be what it is today. Oh, God. When my dad and his brothers were growing up in the church, she would always make them sing. And I'm not probably in the best vocal range right now. I've never been the best singer to begin with, but for my grandmother, I'm going to sing a song. I was yelling, jumping up and down at that hockey game. I wooed probably 50 times. One glad morning, when this life is over, I'll fly away to a land where joy should never end. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. That is a terrible singing job, but I did it. I don't care. I love you for watching the podcast. And really, I need to give a shout out to Coleman. Coleman, as much as I rip on him for being the ugliest friend I've ever had and for not having any Manic merch, Coleman, you texted me and checked up on me today. Thank you. You're a real one. And I'm an idiot. I'm in a vulnerable state, but I mentioned it. Manic merch. Ever since I bought this hat, I could drive anything. This is the Manic merch trucker hat. And with this on, I could fly a spaceship. Again, sorry for the ear beating. That was the worst singing in the world. But it's something I had to do. Thank you for listening to episode 36 of Tremendous Opinions Podcast. And regular episode next week. I'll probably do another vinyl soul searching. I bought a cool Chester Copper Pot looking little briefcase for some vinyls. And I'll get back to the regular scheduled program next week. Would it be a regular episode if I didn't have dyslexia? And if I didn't thank you a million times. Thank you. I love you for watching my podcast. And I will be back next week. We're out of here.